The tortoise size and shell shape varies depending on where they live. The shell is made of bone and is a dull brown color. Their ribs, backbone and breastbone have become part of the shell, which is why you can never separate the tortoise from its shell.
In this course, we will explore how such things as department stores, nationally advertised brand name goods, mass-produced cars and suburbs transform the American economy, society and politics. The course is organized both thematically and chronologically. Each period deals with a new development in the history of consumer culture.
Experts discuss the significance of attending the theater as a civic occasion, associated with the political and cultural achievements of Athens. Through archaeology and analyses of contemporary art forms such as decoration on pottery, a picture is built up of ancient Greek theater.
Members of a culture must conform to its norms for the culture to exist and function. Hence, members must want to conform and obey rules. They first must internalize the social norms and values that dictate what is normal for the culture. Then they must socialize or teach norms and values to their children.
Expression became important during the Romantic movement, with artwork expressing a definite feeling, as in the sublime or dramatic. Audience response was important, for the artwork was intended to evoke an emotional response. This definition holds true today as artists look to connect with and evoke responses from their viewers.
We seek to improve learners' experience of education at college and help them to aspire, achieve, and progress. We must embed equality and diversity in everything we do, both as a provider and an employer. We hope to prepare our students for work, higher education, and citizenship by equipping our staff with the skills to meet this agenda.
The natural environment can be hazardous, and, with increased travel and leisure, people today are more likely than ever to be exposed to potentially life-threatening conditions. Although the human body can adjust to some extent, it cannot cope with poisons or prolonged exposure to extremes of environment.
The natural environment can be hazardous, and, with increased travel and leisure, people today are more likely than ever to be exposed to potentially life-threatening conditions. Although the human body can adjust to some extent, it cannot cope with poisons or prolonged exposure to extremes of environment.
We believe in the inherent value of research in the humanities and social sciences. And our research data agenda is given by the pursuit of new knowledge that will be of benefit of Australia and the world. We offer one of the most comprehensive programs in the humanities and social sciences in Australia and the Asian Pacific region.
The whole purpose of making notes is to aid your learning. It is important to go back over them within a day of making them to make sure they make sense and make them legible for future revisions. Also, going back over them should highlight the key questions of areas in which you want to do further reading.
The word radical from the Latin word for roots means anyone who advocates fundamental change in the political system. Literally, a radical is one who proposes to attack some political or social problems by going deep into the social or economic fabric to get at the root cause and alter this basic weakness.
This is a new, accessible and engaging textbook written by academics who also work as consultants with organizations undergoing change. It offers a unique combination of rigorous theoretical exploration together with practical insights from working with those who are actually responsible for managing change.
There were various explanations for volcano behavior before the structure of the Earth mantle as a semi-solid material was developed. For decades, awareness that compression in radioactive materials may be heat sources was discounted, and volcanic action was often attributed to chemical reactions and a thin layer of molten rock near the surface.
According to a peer-reviewed study, medical cannabis led to a statistically significant improvement in quality of life, employment status, and in the reduction of the number of medications in those with Tourette's syndrome, in addition to improving comorbidities.
A new breed of rice that is a hybrid of an annual Asian rice and a perennial African rice could be a more sustainable option. The hybrid rice was able to produce grain for 8 consecutive harvests over 4 years at a yield comparable to the standard annual Asian rice, with much lower costs and labor.
USA sexually teased its troops in the First World War to make them fight harder. Believing that sexually satisfied men could not be easily motivated, the aim of this teasing was to generate unmet sexual desire, which the War Department could leverage as motivation to fight.
Most babies start developing their hearing while still in the womb, prompting some hopeful parents to play classical music to their pregnant bellies. Some research even suggests that infants are listening to adult speech as early as 10 weeks before birth, gathering the basic building blocks of their family's native tongue.
People in their 20s and 30s who drink moderate to heavy amounts of alcohol may be more likely to have a stroke as young adults than people who drink low amounts or no alcohol, according to a study. The risk of stroke increased the more years people reported moderate or heavy drinking.
The Texas law prohibiting abortion after detectable embryonic cardiac activity was associated with a decrease in in-state abortions and an increase in residents obtaining out-of-state abortions. The proportion of out-of-state abortions obtained at 12 weeks increased significantly from 17.1% to 31%.
Belief that the COVID-19 pandemic was a hoax, that its severity was exaggerated or that the virus was deliberately released for sinister reasons, functions as a gateway to believing in conspiracy theories generally. In study, pandemic skeptics were more likely to believe in 2020 election fraud.
Vitamin D deficiency linked to premature death. Over a 14-year follow-up period, researchers found that the risk for death significantly decreased with increased vitamin D concentrations, with the strongest effects seen among those with severe deficiencies.
Air pollution reduced when U.S. embassies around the world installed monitors and tweeted the readings. The resulting reductions in air pollution levels had large health benefits for residents in these cities, speaking to the potential efficacy of other monitoring and information interventions.
A study of nearly 2,000 children found that those who reported playing video games for 3 hours per day or more performed better on cognitive skills tests involving impulse control and working memory compared to children who had never played video games.
Until now, Mars has been generally considered a geologically dead planet. An international team of researchers led by ETH Zurich now reports that seismic signals indicate volcanism still plays an active role in shaping the Martian surface.
China's war on particulate air pollution is causing more severe ozone pollution. According to the new research, There was so much particulate matter in the smog around Chinese cities that it helped to quell ozone production by acting as a sponge that collected chemical radicals.
A lullaby or cradle song is a soothing song or piece of music that is usually played for children. The purposes of lullabies vary. In some societies, they are used to pass down cultural knowledge or tradition. Lullabies can be found in many countries and have existed since ancient times.
Eating a handful of almonds a day significantly increases the production of butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid that promotes gut health. Whole almond eaters had an additional 1.5 bowel movements per week compared to the other groups. Eating almonds could also benefit those with constipation.
The carbon is essential to life on Earth, but scientists still struggle to grasp its complexities. Most research to date has focused on major sources of the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide and the use of fossil fuels. A new study has come to the counterintuitive conclusion that plants might accumulate more carbon in the presence of predators and herbivores.
Your subject outlines are a good place to go to find information about which textbooks to buy. You will usually be given one of these for each subject in the first lecture, but if you are missing one or need one earlier, then you should contact the subject coordinator.
Most people do not realize that some banks literally make money by giving loans without having money on deposit. The system is called fractional reserve banking and is used in most economies. It sounds as though it is safe because it says that banks have to keep a fraction of their deposits with the reserve bank.
Globalization refers to a set of changes rather than a single change. Many of these changes are social, cultural and political rather than purely economic, and one of the main drivers in addition to the global marketplace is the communication revolution.
The most obvious change is that 46% of college undergraduates are now women. When I went there, it was only the third year that women had been admitted, and then seemingly grudgingly, about 70% of students were male, and if there was a woman tutor she must have been a male impersonator.
It's not easy to make a wind turbine blade. Conventional blades require a lot of labor. They are a sandwich composed of fiberglass, sheets of balsa wood and a chemical called an epoxy thermoset resin. A heat oven is required to give blades the proper shape, strength, smoothness and flexibility to catch the wind and turn the turbine.
We've spent a lot of money over the last 70 years on flood control, and it's protected millions of people and has saved us billions of dollars. We've built dams to hold back the waters. We've built levees to keep the water off the people, and we've raised the ones that were originally started in 1718.
It is normally expected that the final version of your thesis, which must be submitted to the university library in both hard copy and electronic form, will be freely available to the public. Once in the library, your thesis may be consulted, borrowed and copied in accordance with the regulations.
We can see from the X-rays that at an early stage of painting, a window was painted at the left of the portrait. It seems that there may have been two windows in the initial design for the portrait, or that the window was moved at an early stage.
Researchers found that couples with higher satisfaction in relationship had greater neural synchronization while watching marriage-related clips, but they don't know whether there are selection-based behaviors arising from similar brain activity, or whether couples evolve over time to develop it.
COVID-19 pandemic is linked to early onset of puberty in some girls. Several studies suggest that the number of girls starting puberty early has more than doubled amid the coronavirus outbreak, and experts are unsure about exactly why.
An environment of rapid change, technological innovations, and increasing business competitiveness has highlighted the growing importance of management development. In particular, the general movement towards great employee involvement and making things happen through people has emphasized an integrating rather than a controlling style of management.
Psychology is the study of cognitions, emotions, and behavior. Psychologists are involved in a variety of tasks. Many spend their careers designing and performing research to understand how people behave in specific situations, how and why we think the way we do, and how emotions develop and what impact they have on our interactions with others.